Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I apologize I haven't posted a video for a while, but it has been winter time. It has been a little crazy. The weather here in the Midwest, we've had a lot of snow and ice off and on. Just kind of the way it gets around here. Winter refuses to go away. We're in March now, and still pretty chilly out. We're still getting sleet and snow and hail and all kinds of crazy stuff from time to time. So I haven't been driving the car, every day. Obviously, it's one of the things that I said I was reluctant to drive this thing in snowy weather, so I haven't. I don't want to drive it when there's, road salt. So I've driven the truck a lot in the wintertime, and that's just kind of the way I intended to do it. And because we haven't really had any spring weather yet, just really hasn't been a good time to drive it. But we're back in it today, and this video series hasn't really had a whole lot of popularity. I did have a comment recently, just saying keep it up. I like the series, so that's good enough for me. As long as it's helping at least one person, it's worth it. So let's get into a question today that people who are buying Mercedes Benz of this era often ask, and that is there anything I'm going to need to do as soon as I buy my classic Mercedes Benz? And the short answer is absolutely. There are going to be things that you have to do. Now, in rare occasions, you may find one that is meticulously cared for and has absolutely every little detailed record up to date. And those cars are rare, but they are out there. If something like that happens, especially if it's a family member, somebody personally took care of this car, and it's not just somebody saying, well, yeah, all the maintenance is up to date, but I don't keep receipts or whatever, then yeah, that's a good thing if you can find a car that you're familiar with. But most of us are not that fortunate. Most of us find cars at dealerships or find cars that are listed by individuals online, and we have to either try to get service records from them or take their word for it. And I would recommend never taking anyone's word for it. If they don't have documented proof, assume that it has not been done. Buddy, you can get over anytime now. You're clear. So with this car, I bought it from a dealership, and they had a stack of service records. Very, very thorough stack of service records. Two things that were not covered in that stack of service records. One is a recent oil change. They said that they change the oil on cars when they come in, but they don't have receipts, and it was kind of a mom and pop organization. I checked the oil, it didn't look particularly clean. So the first thing that I did was just change the oil, just because you don't know for sure. Even if they say they changed it, you never really know for sure. The only way that you know is if you do it yourself, or if they have a recent receipt that has the VIN number and all that, whatever. But even in that situation, it's good peace of mind to just go ahead and get fresh oil in there, start fresh. And so I took care of that, and I'll show you that right here. So I've just completed the oil change, first oil change. I just bought this yesterday, so wanted to change the oil and get everything out of there. I had no idea when it was changed last. Service records are good on this, but I couldn't find anything recent for an oil change. Oil looked a little dirty, so just a good practice to go ahead and start fresh, get it out of there. I used Castrol Edge 5W40, and this is European formula. And you're probably asking yourself what that means exactly, and that's a good question. I have no idea. So, man filter, good fleece filter. To be honest with you, I used Mobil 1 5W40 European formula in the W212 video, if you recall, and I actually went to pick some up and they were out of it. So they had this Castrol Edge. It is a synthetic European formula 5W40, so shouldn't be any problems there, I wouldn't think. I'll just continue to use this Castrol Edge. But the mobile ones seem to be popular among the Mercedes owners. That's the only reason why I was using it on the 212. So this one should be a good substitute. Does say European formula, whatever that means, but it is the right weight. It is synthetic, and takes just shy of 8.5 quarts. And literally the most difficult part about this oil change is just changing all the O-rings on the filter housing there. There are 4 of them, and you know, I use a vacuum pump to evacuate the oil through the dipstick tube. That way you don't have to get underneath it. Oil filter is easily accessible, so these cars are very easy to change the oil on. No problems at all with that. Super simple, super straightforward, and yeah, it's all done, all ready to go. Okay, so we did that, and another thing that I did not find in the maintenance records was the 80,000 mile transmission service. So these are 40,000 mile intervals, depending on, you know, where you get your information. You know, a lot of online sources will give you different intervals, but I would always err on the cautious side and the most frequent side, especially when you're talking about a car that hasn't been driven much, right? So because then age becomes more of a factor than mileage, right? So bought the car with 85,000 miles, and it did not have any record of the 80,000 mile transmission service done, so I had that done. And these transmissions don't have a dipstick. They don't make it very easy for you to do it on your own. Plus it's an awfully messy job, and you're going to end up spending money on fluid and filters and gaskets and everything else. So it's not a huge backbreaker to just drop it off at a professional and have them do it. You know, indie places will typically range, you know, $400 to $500, and a dealership might cost you, you know, upwards of $6 or $7. But we have a European indie mechanic here in town called Eurosource Auto Works in St. Joseph, Missouri. They do a really good job with Mercedes Benz, so I have no problem taking vehicles to him. I've had him do work for me before, and always does a good job at a fair price. So we had that done. But yeah, anytime you buy one of these cars, let's keep in mind that it's just not a new unit. It's not a car that, it's not like buying a 2019 car where, you know, everything's just fresh. It's it has some wear on it. It's of course 23 years old. So anytime you buy a car of this era, you're gonna have to do things to it. And I've already talked about, you know, really the only thing that is non-functional in this car is the clock. It has some missing pixels, which is really common of European cars. I know BMW E39s had the same deal where they have pixels go out of their screen, but it's kind of the same deal. But other than that, this car was incredibly well cared for, but it still needs a little bit of attention. It still needed a couple of things done. So, you know, the first couple of, you know, things that I did, you know, within the first week that I had it, was just to get everything up to date, make sure that I have all the maintenance up to date, and get that all taken care of for peace of mind. And then I can just drive it, I can enjoy it, and that's that. But yeah, so anytime you buy one of these cars, just make sure that you do your diligence, know what you're getting into, right? So if you're going to buy one of these cars, ask for any service records, maintenance records, anything they may have. And if they tell you we've done it all, you know, it's all up to date, we just don't have any receipts, trust them at your own discretion. I personally never would. I would want to see receipts. I would want to see records of it. Otherwise, I would just assume that they haven't been done. So that's kind of how I feel about that. But make sure everything's up to date, because people that have bad experiences with older European cars like this are typically people that they're operating neglected vehicles. And typically, as long as the maintenance is kept up to date, they're just excellent vehicles. They're great to drive. They're, you know, bulletproof, but they're not low maintenance. These are not low maintenance cars. High maintenance does not mean unreliable. It does not mean delicate. They're just complex. So they have a little bit more complexity to the systems, and they require a little bit more maintenance and a little bit more frequent maintenance sometimes. But that's pretty much it for an update on this. Again, I haven't driven it a heck of a lot, so not a whole lot to update on that. The car's still great, but I will have probably within the next couple of weeks, I'll have a video, or maybe even a series of videos posted on a new endeavor, something that I have purchased and something that I'm super excited about. I don't want to spoil it. It is not a Mercedes car. It is not anything like that, but something I'm going to be bringing to the channel just to have a little bit of fun with, something I've wanted to do for a really long time, and I have the opportunity to do now. So we'll be kind of mixing that in with some of the Mercedes update content, stuff like that. And you know, I'm always on the hunt for old Mercedes, so if I bump into a 116 or a 126 or something like that, I'm always down to go ahead and get another one, and I really enjoy these old cars. So stay tuned for that, but I will have something a little fun, if not for everybody else, certainly for me, to kind of update everybody on and hopefully have a little bit of fun with. But until then, everybody, enjoy your day. Thanks for watching.